Hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's Sam from Gemini, and today we're going to be talking about Krav Maga and why it is so hated. Oh yeah. Right, as always, hope everybody's doing well and enjoying the weather, and hope you're all in a cool, safe place and just generally doing dandy. So, today we're going to be talking about Krav Maga and why it appears to be hated so much. Now, this came along after I did another video about anti-Semitism within martial arts, and it was a comment which came up. So I'll include that comment now for you guys to see. And I feel personally what that poster put was quite rational. It was quite relatable. Yeah. It can be argued that Krav Maga does generally, from my experience, put itself out there to be the be-all, end-all of martial arts. And indeed, the response I actually said to this individual was, I remember a time when Krav Maga was first getting some popularity in the West. It seemed to be that if you didn't do Krav, then you weren't taken seriously. Krav almost promoted itself as the panacea of all the martial arts ills and woes and fallacies. Basically, if you wanted to be good at martial arts, you had to do Krav, was essentially the message it was putting across. In my area, there are actually a few local Krav schools, and I've seen them being advertised, and one of them has like this big truck, and it's one of those archetypically masculine alpha male kind of trucks, and it's got on the back of it something like Krav military martial arts style, and it's got camouflage and all this kind of stuff. Now, bringing psychology into play, if you can use what's called evaluative conditioning, where basically you pair a concept with an image or a slogan or a phrase, and you'll make a judgment based on that pairing and whether it's good or bad. Now, to give an example, a prime example of that would be if you saw an aftershave advert, and this aftershave, the advert had David Beckham or Brad Pitt going around putting on this aftershave. The message it's putting across there is, oh, this aftershave is so good, David Beckham or Brad Pitt wear it. So people watching will be like, oh, I want to be like David Beckham, I want to be like Brad Pitt, so I'll wear it as well. Because they're associating this aftershave with icons who are generally quite respected. Same kind of imaging with this Krav Maga. It's kind of, if you advertise a Krav Maga school and you've got an image of like some big tough guy beating up all these baddies, or it's got some like military connotation, people will be drawn to that generally. And we can get quite Freudian into that in terms of violence and the natural human condition. We're not going to, but generally people will be quite drawn to it. Like, oh, I want to be strong, I want to be tough, I want to have this like military mindset. Well, Krav has got the answers. So people, I feel, are drawn to Krav partly because of that. It seems to espouse this very sort of like alpha male-itis type image. Definitely this, it wants people to think that if you do Krav, you can defend yourself, irrespective of what the instructors are like. The instructors could be absolutely rubbish, but the fact that you're doing Krav, you're learning Krav techniques, you will, by default, know how to defend yourself in any given situation. That, from my experience, is generally the image that Krav has given off. From my studies, from what little training I have in Krav, I don't have that much training in Krav Maga. However, I feel as though that I have had enough training in Krav to know the very basics. Retzev, continuous attack, etc., going into all these concepts, this kind of stuff. I do sometimes incorporate Krav into my training. So if you're going to get a martial art which is going to go around and say it's going to be the apex martial art, it's going to be the supreme martial art, and all these other martial arts are either rubbish or they're stylistically inferior, they're philosophically redundant, Krav is what you have to go for if you want to get results. If you're going to go around and espouse that sort of mantra, you are going to step on people's toes. You are going to get people angry. And from my experience of martial arts, the martial arts community is not generally a peaceful community. It's a very judgmental community. I've experienced a huge amount of negativity from martial arts. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of positive traits that come out of martial arts, granted. And I'm fortunate enough to actually have had some very positive experience via martial arts. However, the opposite is equally true. I've met some horrible people in martial arts, and I've met some very horrible outlooks of martial arts as well. And all you need to do is just go onto any YouTube video, type in martial arts, and you'll get masses of comments of polarizing arguments, degenerating into a basically name-calling slagfest. Martial arts, very judgmental, and people are very protective of martial arts. They feel that if you're insulting their martial art, because obviously it belongs to them and no one else, they get hurt, and then they will come to the defense of the martial art. That is a discussion for another time as well, because a martial art doesn't need you to defend it. I think a martial art is quite capable of defending itself, regardless of whether you're there or not. But people will then get upset, and if Krav Maga goes around saying we're the best martial art in the world, you will get people who come out and say, no, this is ridiculous. Let me just say, any martial art that says it's the best in the world deserves scorn. It's not true. No martial art is going to be the be-all end-all of situations. Even a really wimpy martial art like Choi Kwang Do could still have its uses used in the correct context, in the correct time and the correct place. It could still find value. So to say something like, my martial art of Krav Maga is the best in the world, that statement in itself is nonsensical. And if you're going to be teaching your students that, you're setting them up for failure, basically. You're giving them a false sense of security. They're going to go away thinking they're invincible, they're bulletproof, they're knife-proof, and worst case scenario happens and they'll be in a hospital bed or wake up in custody thinking, what have I done? Or what's happened to me? So that could well help explain why there's a lot of hate against Krav Maga. Now, I'm not saying that specifically that Krav Maga is deserving of this hate. Krav Maga, like any art, has a lot to offer, and personally, I actually do quite like its practicality, its linear, to-the-point approach, which I feel that, from my experience, a lot of martial arts I've trained in lack. So I like that aspect of Krav Maga, I really do. However, I feel if they just reined in the alpha male-itis aspect of it, if they just reined in the whole you have to be big and strong to do this martial art kind of mentality, it could probably be much more accepted, I'd say, in the martial arts community. Some Krav Maga practitioners who I know are really, really decent people, but they do have this mentality of, I'm the alpha, and if you do another martial art, it's naturally going to be inferior by default to what I do. However, that can apply to any martial art. I've met some people who do Taekwondo, and they say Taekwondo is the greatest martial art in the world. That's BS. Choi Kwang Do has on their official website that they've proven to be the most effective martial art in the world. That's BS. Any other martial art which says stuff like this should be called out. No single martial art is the best one in the world, and if you want to be a good, generally all-rounded martial artist, personally, I'd encourage you to cross-train in many different things. Find what is good for yourself, have that as a base style, but still take things from other martial arts as well. Keep an open mind. The world is your oyster. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. As always, let me know what you think. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't. That's fine. It's a free world and we're all entitled to our opinions. So, until next time, guys, stay safe, train hard, keep listening to Slayer because they're the best band around, and they've got back together after 5 years, and they're doing a few shows, none of which are in the UK, so I'm a little bit peed off about that, so I can't go and see Slayer. Anyway, ciao for now, stay safe. Booyah!